Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sid Alpha, and welcome to this week's installment in Line of Sight, the Exclusively Games weekly news roundup. In last week's video, I discussed the ePigs situation where I had inadvertently made a typo in one of the graphical overlays discussing Epic Games. In that, I did my best to reassure everyone that this was a funny but completely accidental comparison to pork and or pork-related products, and that I intended no malice towards Epic Games, but several commenters were quick to point out that, in the doing so, I may have inadvertently caused offense to pigs as well. Now, let me be clear. I love bacon. I love the Republic. I love bacon so much that I have two different kinds in my fridge right now. If I somehow offended the providers of this, the most perfect breakfast food in the history of ever, then I do sincerely apologize to all porcine kind in the world. Those commenters were right. Through my own callousness, I did end up horrifically maligning them, and I have no excuse for my actions. In repentance, I shall go 48 hours without bacon, and I hope this gesture of goodwill can put their troubled, delicious hearts at ease. And rest assured, I will stay true to my word, and I am in no way eating bacon at the very moment I finish recording this video. Also, don't forget to check out the other videos on this channel. Rags continues to hit home run after home run with his reviews, and if you haven't watched them yet, then you're absolutely missing out. In addition to that, we do have the exclusivelygames.com website that is stuffed full of news and gaming-only content that has a ton of new articles released daily. So don't forget to bookmark the website, and remember the YouTube algorithm monster feeds entirely off of engagement, so don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications when new videos go live, and drop a like and comment, even a silly joke, and the algorithm beast should be sufficiently appeased. But with no more gilding the lily and with no further ado, let's see what's on the list for this week. We have the battle between Steam and Epic raging on as a former Valve employee alleges that Steam was killing PC gaming. Facepunch.com forum poster does a deep dive on the Epic Store spyware allegations, Borderlands 3 Epic exclusive and the fan fallout, and our main story for the week, Bioware reacts dismissively to criticism and critical news reporting over Anthem. And there we have it. Now that we're all queued up, let's get started. Valve has maintained their #1 position for digital distribution in PC gaming for an extremely long time. Being the largest and seen by many to be the most iconic, that's real iconic, not Ubisoft iconic, worldwide market for PC games, Valve Corporation has enjoyed a virtual pseudo-monopoly on PC gaming for over a decade. As many are aware, Epic Games have decided they wanted to go toe-to-toe with the distribution giant with their own Epic Store. In order to do that, on their as-yet-to-be-finished storefront, Epic Games has employed massive amounts of paid, timed distribution exclusives in order to force gamers into coming over to their storefront. This has caused a large amount of controversy over the past several months, as PC gamers are none too happy over what has been happening. Recently, a former Steam employee, Richard Geldrich, spoke out in favor of Epic Games. In a Twitter thread that has grown extremely lengthy over the past 72 hours, Geldrich argued against the Epic Store spyware argument, stating that Valve also collects massive amounts of data as well. In addition to that, his arguments focus on the unwieldy 30% revenue share that Valve requires of any game on their storefront, stating, if it wasn't for Epic, the entire industry would still be crunching away to support Valve's 30% rev share. Most of these profits went to a tiny handful of people who could care less about the industry or working conditions. Thank the gaming gods for Epic. Geldrich continued by saying, it's another storefront. All of them have exclusives. Apple just announced Apple Arcade, which consists of exclusives, yet nobody says a thing. The funding from these exclusives go to supporting the game devs that create the games you love so they can make more games. And while many argue that the issue surrounds the prevention of choice, Geldrich has stuck to his guns in defending the developers that have opted to take money from Epic to not publish their games on Steam. Now that actually ties directly into our next story that discusses the Epic Store privacy concerns more directly. Now, many people have seen the news stories. I myself covered the origin of this topic in a previous line of sight video. It was discovered that the Epic Store was performing a ton of functions on a person's PC that many took to be a potential intrusion of privacy. On the website facepunch.com, the user .matt posted a detailed investigation and explanation surrounding the different components of the allegations. So let's run through his response to those different segments. EGS likes to enumerate running processes on your computer. This isn't an EGS enumerating process. This is literally how tools like Procmon and Fiddler work. They have injected themselves into the running process. Why is it trying to access DLLs in the directories of some of my applications? This is how shared libraries work on Windows, and once again, this is an example he is showing Fiddler, which is something he has injected into EGS Nothing here. It really likes reading about your root certificates, like a lot. It is a launcher based around a web browser. This is how HTTPS works. Of course, it has to check your available certificate authorities. Every other Electron application, including Discord and Steam, do this. If there are any non-amateur people out there who would be able to explain why it's poking at keys that are apparently associated with Internet Explorer, I'd appreciate it. It seems to like my IE cookies too. Once again, it is a launcher based around essentially being an internet browser. Any application that does that reads these registry values because it's how internet browsing works. Next point, in my totally professional opinion, the EGS client appears to have a severe mental disorder as it loves talking to itself. To which he responded, a demonstration of him showing how little he knows about what he's saying. This is literally how software works by communicating with itself over private TCP ports and pipes, especially modern web applications. This one might even be Fiddler's internal proxy server. The next point, I'm sure that this hardware survey information it's apparently storing in the registry won't be used for anything nefarious or identifiable at all, wink wink. What is being stored in the registry is simply a flag stating if you've taken the hardware survey test, which he didn't even bother looking into. Automated hardware surveys are also a thing in basically every other launcher and software suite such as Origin, Uplay, Adobe, Autodesk, Windows, etc. It is useful anonymous information that helps developers better understand their target hardware. The next point, the big concern that everyone has is tracking, right? Well, Epic does that in spades. Look at all those requests. Look at the delicious tracking.js. I'm sure Xi Jinping is going to love it. Here's a copy of that script. I couldn't make heads or tails of it, but I'm also unfamiliar with JS. It looks less readable than Perl, though. To which Matt responded, he has discovered what analytics and minified JavaScript is. The script is a minified JavaScript analytics tracker. Every single website you go on, including Steam, has this. Everywhere. This is nothing new, nothing dodgy. They just want to know how many users are viewing product pages and their retention, etc. And then he goes through the localconfig.vdf file and verifies that the file creates a local copy of Steam accounts you've logged into on this PC, your entire friends list, your Steam groups, your games and settings for those games. Matt continues on to state, there is a lot more in the file, all unencrypted. The file includes login tokens also, which means the file really should be encrypted. And whilst the file does contain huge amounts of information, there's no evidence that Epic Games Store client uses anything other than the bare minimum in their import friends feature. This is one of the usages of the file, listing your Steam accounts from the PC. The secondary usage is then generating hashed copies of your Steam's friend IDs, not even full versions. They're making hashes. This is because they can't collect Steam IDs, names, or avatars from people who have not agreed to their privacy policy. This is because they operate within the law. The file being copied isn't an ideal solution either. However, it is required to be done at installer time so that the client itself does not require administrative privileges. He then showcased logging information that showed that the hashed data being sent to Epic was exactly what Epic had claimed. Steam account ID, a hash of the Steam account, the persona name, Steam avatar hash, and a hash of their friends list. And while this will in no way change gamers' minds about the paid exclusivity, it would seem that your personal data is most likely not being collected without your knowledge. And our next story involves Epic yet again, as new information about them seems to come out on an hourly basis these days, this time with Borderlands 3. Now, on April 1st, the official Borderlands Twitter account accidentally posted the announcement of the Borderlands 3 release date on September 13th. This was most likely due to human error on configuring the automatic post to go live. However, on April 3rd, that information was released yet again that Borderlands 3 would indeed be released on September 13th as an Epic Store paid exclusive. Instead of this being a one-year distribution exclusive as we have seen with most other games, this one is instead for 6 months, with a stated release on other PC distribution platforms being April of 2020. After the announcement that Borderlands 3 would be an Epic exclusive on PC, Borderlands, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel have all been review bombed as a result of the paid exclusive. And while Steam's new anti-review bomb system does now appear to be working, it sounds like it wasn't at first, and Gearbox's Randy Pitchford was none too happy about it as he took to Twitter to decry Valve's lack of action in protecting the game's review scores from the angry fans. While Borderlands 3 is the most recent large game to become an Epic Store paid exclusive, it is an absolute certainty that it will in no way be the last. Now, our top story for the week is Bioware and the responses to criticism and negative press coverage of Anthem. Jason Schreier, a journalist over at the website Kotaku, recently produced an investigative journalism piece that details at length the issues that faced Bioware and Anthem that boiled down to a lack of direction from management, the constant battles of the Frostbite engine that is reported to make even simple tasks far more complicated, EA's reallocating Bioware developers with experience on the Frostbite engine to FIFA, and a culmination of issues that resulted in a true development period of less than 2 years for Anthem. The article also clearly outlined the reliance on what has been called Bioware magic, a concept that one should rely on a belief that everything will come together in the end, and also covers the severe stress, anxiety, and depression that Bioware staff have experienced in recent years that has led to dozens of employees to leave the company. In what seems to be a response to that article, Bioware released a statement regarding the Anthem game development. Now, in that post, Bioware said, "We don't see the value in tearing down one another or one another's work. We don't believe articles that do that are making our industry and craft better." Jason Schreier then responded to the criticism from gamers over that statement, quote, "EA and Bioware declined to comment or provide any interviews for this story, but they did just put up this blog post written before they could read the article. Very interesting if somewhat dismissive. Hopefully, they're serious about better planning." And then shortly after that, Kotaku obtained an internal memo from Casey Hudson that acknowledged the severe organizational issues that have been plaguing Bioware and the resulting mental health issues that have resulted. Now, in it, Casey Hudson said, "The article mentions many of the problems in the development of Anthem and some of our previous projects, and it draws a line between those issues and the quality of our workspace and the well-being of our staff. These problems are real, and it's our top priority to continue working to solve them. What we found out of bounds was the naming of specific developers as targets for public criticism. It's unfair and extremely traumatizing to single out people in this way, and we can't accept that treatment towards any of our staff. That's why we did not participate in the article and made a statement to that effect." First, Bioware had difficulties with Mass Effect Andromeda, suffering from similar issues and a lack of direction, and now Anthem is the latest game to fall victim to what appears to be severe internal issues at Bioware, coupled with a mandated usage of the Frostbite engine by EA. As a result of this, we are slowly seeing worries over the fate of the next Dragon Age game rising to the surface as well. And that was everything I had for you today in this week's Line of Sight. Thank you so much for tuning in. These videos and the amazing feedback that I've been getting has quickly become one of the highlights of my week, so let's keep things going by hitting the like, subscribe, and share buttons, as well as ringing that bell to make sure you don't miss a video. Also, the road to 100,000 continues over at my YouTube channel at youtube.com/sidalpha as we cross the 90,000 threshold this weekend. I'm looking to break the magical 100K barrier on or before my birthday on June 9th, so anything you can do to help that along would be greatly appreciated. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel over there as well for more videos, as well as my opinions on many of the games industry news stories over the week. And now I have some bacon that I'm totally not going to eat at all because I am a man of my word. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sid Alpha, and I'll see you next time.